Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. Just a few hours ago, Capcom just revealed the next new Monster Hunter game, which is the G-Rank follow-up to Monster Hunter Cross, called Monster Hunter Double Cross. It's got a whole bunch of new monsters, it's got a bunch of new features, and more importantly, it comes with two new hunting styles. They did talk about one, while the other one remains a mystery. The one that they talked about is called the Brave style, and it looks unbelievable. This one is definitely geared for more advanced players, and I really think this is what people are going to want to try to master as they go into G-Rank. Let's take a look at some of the information that they shared in their follow-up program after the Direct. Now, not to bombard you with text before I show you, but it does make a lot more sense once you know it. So when you press the Y button in the game, you normally do a sheathing animation. But for the Brave style, you do a special type of sheathing animation. If you hold down Y, you'll sort of keep your kind of position and you'll have a blue light growing around you. While you're in this poised position, you'll be primed to do a counterattack, but you'll also be losing health and stamina. Not so much health, but definitely a lot of stamina. During this kind of poised position, you can then press another button such as B to evade, Y or A or whatever to attack, and you can counter out of it. Now, every attack that you do on a monster in Brave style, particularly ones that are followed up by this special Y sheathing animation, will charge your Brave gauge, and the Brave gauge will unlock all sorts of cool stuff. But of course, great power does come with some responsibility and some restrictions, so they did demonstrate very well in a demo with the Greatsword what we can expect. So here we'll notice he tries to go and do a charged shot, but you cannot do a charged hit with the Greatsword in Brave style normally. However, he presses the Y button here and he holds it down. You'll notice his health and his stamina, but particularly his stamina, is going down. So if you just tap Y, you'll do a small little kind of animation and just put your weapon away. If you hold it, you can then go into a counter where you can press a move to cancel out of it. Here he presses, I believe, the X button to do a hit, and he realizes that if he starts from the charge, he can then go straight into an actual traditional charged hit here. So you see, there are some restrictions, but your basic bread and butter moves are still there. They're just a little bit different now. So I definitely like how this style is shaking things up much differently than the other styles did. If you notice here, he does a level 2 charge and his gauge goes up quite a bit. So you can do stuff with the style, like you can hold down Y and press A and he'll do sort of like a run-in, like the uppercut kind of hit that they do with the Greatsword, or you can press X to do the downward or the charge, or you can press B to do an evade. The whole point of this style though is to counter monsters and to get that gauge up. So you want to be super aggressive, but you also want to be countering. So this is a pretty much new style where it's like counter guarding, but you're not waiting for an attack. You're literally plowing yourself into it. So I think this is going to be really fun for aggressive players. Now once that gauge is completely filled, you'll see it go into red, and this is what they call Brave mode. In Brave mode, it unlocks all sorts of new abilities for the weapon, and what's really cool is that the way that this style affects each weapon is totally different. Now this was just a guest on the show, so you can imagine that obviously he had no idea what he was doing, but for a first timer, I think he was doing pretty darn good. So now he was trying to understand the idea of what you can possibly do. Here he just holds A and goes straight into a long, fast charge shot. That's crazy. So obviously you can see here that the Brave mode for Greatsword can give you access to stuff like your strong charge at super fast speed and other stuff that the Adept style would normally give you under very more extreme circumstances. So that's pretty darn cool. And if you notice here, when he presses B, he does this really cool swift kind of sidestep. The sidestep, it seems that no matter where you put the direction of your D-pad, it's very versatile and it will sort of throw you back in that direction, almost like how a fade slash works for a weapon like the longsword. Here they're doing a hammer demonstration of countering, and he's countering into an evade here. So you can see it can be used defensively, but you are missing a good opportunity to build up some gauge. Unfortunately, the person who was demoing this was having a pretty hard time with Raytheon. She was punishing him, so here's like an evade here. So he's showing more the evasive ways to use that sheathing animation, and then he's going to try to show off some of the more aggressive ways. So here we notice he didn't do the home run, so my guess is that with the hammer for Brave style you don't get the home run normally. Very cool evades there. Nonetheless though, with doing a steady amount of damage, you notice the gauge still goes up pretty healthily. Now the cool thing with the hammer is because, again, it behaves differently for every weapon. Once you go into brave mode with the hammer, you get what they call sort of like instant charges. So when you charge up your hammer for a level 1 and you hit the monster, you can immediately combo it into another charge which counts as level 2, then immediately charge into another one which counts as level 3. And all those charges are the adept style versions of like the strong charge. So these are going to be really powerful if you know how to use them. So here we see he's now in brave mode, he's charged up. And if you notice now he's, well, yeah, he goes and gets himself hit. I can imagine doing it live must be really nerve-wracking though. Here you can see he's comboing into another level of charge and he's comboing into that awesome evade. So very cool stuff. Something tells me dash juice is going to be very popular in this game. That sidestep though is so amazingly cool. And you notice he kind of missed the evade there, so it almost tells me that you get evasion +1 with those counter evades. Not as much of a forgiving window as it was in Monster Hunter Generations with the adept style. I am really curious whether or not they're going to tweak the adept style now, so that instead of being like evasion +3, maybe they'll make it a little bit tighter window. I do imagine, I can see that happening, so if I get my hands on the demo, I'll let you guys know. See, he's countering into there, counters into another level, so he's just chain comboing them, and that's how Brave Style works with the hammer. So, very fun. And finally, we got to see that the longsword in Brave mode gets a blue aura gauge, which is probably really strong, and also a special new attack that also counts as a counter attack. So it's kind of like a counter for a lance. So this could be very good for a longsword user if you know how to use it properly. They also showed that with the lance, once you're into your mode as well, if you press X+A, it does a brand new type of shield thrust that acts as sort of like a super guard, and you can combo straight from it. So you can do thrust, thrust, X+A, thrust, thrust, X+A, and go on and on and on and on and on. Anyways, I'm super excited about this new style. I can't wait to learn more and how it affects other weapons, and I hope you guys enjoyed me sharing a little bit of the information that we learned today by watching them on their live stream. Until next time, happy hunting.